Good morning and welcome to our first CEO conversation. I'm so excited this morning to be talking with Cindy Urban, the president of Klapec Trucking, and Greg Lander, the vice president. Good friends. I have known Cindy for more years than we may want to admit. Cindy is a past board member of the chamber, and Greg is a graduate of our leadership program. So I'm so pleased that I've had the chance to get to know them better. They are supporting members of the Venango Chamber and really a business that has impact far beyond our region. So thank you for joining me this morning, Cindy and Greg. It's great to see you. I know you're probably have trucks ready to go and ready for a busy day when we're done here today.
Yep.
We do. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
Great. Well, we're going to get started. We're just going to talk and you all just can listen in. We're glad you're with us. And of course, we always welcome you to put anything in the chat if there's something you'd like us to ask Cindy and Greg today. But we are recording. So if you want to share our conversation today with others, you'll be able to after the half hour. So you've been doing business here in Venango County for over 70 years now. That's a long time. Cindy, your dad started the business, you're second generation. Greg, you're third. Will you tell us what has helped you grow the business into the business that you are today?
Yes, we have been around for 72 years. It's the great people that we work with, our customers and our employees. We have great local customers, and we've had the privilege of serving them for many decades. I'm echoing. Does that make? I don't know if I'm doing something wrong. Okay.
I can hear you well.
Okay. But we've been able to service these customers for decades, and we're so fortunate. And they're local customers. They keep us busy and we take care of them. So it's a great partnership. And of course, our employees. We have great truck drivers. They go all over the country. They're safe. They get there on time. But the guys in the shop are terrific because they work around the clock to keep everybody moving. And the office personnel, the back office, we can't row the boat alone. It takes all of us working together.
Well, I bet you're proud of your employee base. Without question, the thing we hear the most from businesses, not just here in our region, but really across the country, is finding good workers. I'm sure that can be challenging when you want to grow, but you've had excellent experience with being able to hire a good workforce locally.
We have, and there's so many people that have come to work here and have made their career here and retired here, and we're very proud of that.
Wonderful. Well, certainly one of the threats to business in our region can be, people deciding to retire. Cindy, I know that you, like me, we're getting older. We're thinking about more time off. And so it can be challenging to think about what happens to a business as people either pass away or go into retirement. And in your family, you have, your father was successful in bringing you into the business, and now your children are working in the business. Can you tell us a little bit about, what made you want to follow in your father's footsteps, and what has created this succession plan in your business?
Well, I started working with my dad when I could write in cursive. So he would circle on the bill what I had to pay, and I'd write out the check, and then he'd circle the address. So I'd fill out the envelope, put all the papers together, and that's how I got started in the basement of the house. And the kids, I call them the kids, the third generation. They're not kids, but to me, everybody's a kid anymore. Same thing. They started out early. I brought them to the garage, call this garage, the shop. And they just did all kinds of odd jobs. And that kind of gets in your blood. I know people say that, but it does. It gets in your blood, the work ethic, the hard work, and that's just a way of life.
Do you think you knew when you started doing that? And as you went on to high school, we talk to high school students all the time about what they want to do. And it's kind of interesting to see how their perspectives change. Do you think you always knew that you would stay in the business, or was that something that happened at some point along the way?
Life just happened.
Yeah. Well, how about for you, Greg? Greg, so we know you're around the shop. I've seen you with your own children around the shop. So was it the same for you, or was there a point where you said, this is definitely what I want to do and I'm going to skill myself specifically for this career?
So I started with mowing grass and washing trucks and weeding and all the fun stuff that you get to do as the owner's son. So we as soon as I turned 18, I got my CDL. Then I drove for a little bit and just doing odd stuff, really. Loading trucks, running a roll-off box, take this here, take that there type stuff. And then a guy got hurt and I took his job for a little while and did that. And it was really nice doing something consistent every day. But then, of course, he came back to work and I back to the odd jobs. And then at one point we had a truck that needed painted. So I painted the truck and did the body work and stuff like that. Really just morph a little bit of here and there and everywhere. Then eventually learned office. You came in the office and learned that. And then worked through dispatch and all the inside type jobs, the mileage, all that. And in school, mom always wanted us to work hard manual labor here so that we would go to college and learn a lot and make college worth our while. So that worked well. In college, I started out as mechanical engineering and I wanted to be an engineer till we went to, I got an internship at Joy actually, and ended up sitting behind a computer all day and, adjusting drawings and stuff like that. And I didn't want to sit behind a computer all day. I wanted to be out and talk to people and, and do that kind of stuff. So came back to the business and really enjoy it here.
That's great. We talk about company culture a lot. We talk about it here in our office. We talk about it with our, what our members are doing. And I certainly think, my experience having been an employee in a corporation for years is we want to work for people who identify with what we do, who get what we do. We have more respect for them if we know that they have firsthand knowledge of what we do. So that's quite impressive that, you've probably done the work of most of your employees at some point in your life. Would that be safe to say, Greg?
Yep.
And Cindy, maybe you have too, but I'm guessing you haven't really fixed the motor of a truck before, or have you?
Right. No, I haven't fixed the motor, but I've run for parts.
Yeah.
And even when I was a kid, we painted trucks too. So, when my dad would buy old equipment, we'd have to sand them and paint them. And we did all kinds of odd jobs as well. And I'm proud to say that 3 out of my 4 children are here in the business. And they all pursued other careers or jobs before they decided to come here. So they weren't forced to come, they wanted to come. And I'm proud about that.
That's amazing. I want to address one of the questions that we just got a question in the chat, which is, which characteristics do you look for in your employees? You have fantastic employees, which I would agree. And I'll just say, one of the easiest ways to make sure that you have great employees with the characteristics you want is you have them and raise them, right? but you have far more employees than you have children. So what are those characteristics that you look for, and how do you identify who's likely to be your most successful employee?
We always look for honest, integrity, people that show up on time, that sort of thing. There's so many that don't make the cut, at applications. So we go through a lot of applications to get ones that.
Greg, you're a little hard to hear. I don't know if you can put your mic closer or have an adjustment.
Is that better?
Maybe a little.
That's better.
Yep.
Somehow I'm not here too, so it's playing with me too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Employees, we try to, just, you get that, I don't know, when you interview somebody, you get who they are and what they are. And that's really what we use when we hire employees.
I'm hearing more and more that we hire for character, not skills. We can skill people. Is that consistent? I mean, I'm sure that you have to have, if you're going to drive a truck, you have to have a CDL license, but.
Right, there's the skill set, but there's also the character behind, and the skills can be trained. The character, the attitude, that kind of stuff, that you can't fix that. So we do a lot of training here. We have trainers in the trucks, senior drivers, and that sort of thing that we can put guys with to train the skills. So we do a lot of that.
Cindy, have
It's
you seen a
tougher.
change since you've been with the company longer from a hiring standpoint? Is it more challenging now than it was when you started? Are you seeing a difference in how we approach hiring good employees?
It's getting harder to find employees. And I think that's across all industries. I've heard from everybody how hard it is to find people who want to work. So that's the toughest part.
Yeah, and you and I both know there's been tremendous population decline in Venango
Oh,
County.
yeah.
So there are just simply less people, right, for us to even pick from or have apply. So that really can be challenging.
Exactly.
I mentioned early that Greg is one of the graduates of our leadership program, as his brother Mark is, and his wife Tracy, and now we have Jason in the program. I think that is such a show of a strong employee that wants to grow their people, train them, and we do a lot of character and people training in that program. So I thank you for your investment in your employees and in yourselves in
One
that.
thing we try to do too is we really enjoy staying in Venango County, and it's a great place to live and work and raise a family. And we try to push that with new people coming in. You really don't have to look far to see all the advantages around here. And we use the bike trails. We use just all the stuff we have at our disposal around here. Actually, last year I went on. We tried kayaking for the first time. It was a perfect year for that. We enjoyed that. And my little Abby was throwing her heart out trying to stay straight. That's always a challenge. But we had a good time with that. But the Be Here program that Ashley does is really a great program. And, we've been pushing that with new people coming in, especially with out of towners that are looking to move here or something. We've really tried to get a hold of them and, and get them back to the area here. So we do have a few people here that have moved back, and it's good to see, and they're doing well. They bought a house here. They're having family. And so it's been great all around seeing that happen.
It's great to hear you say that, because I've felt for a long time that when we get a good employee, it's so important for us to connect them to the community. So they have a support system, so they have things they love to do, so that you're using that program. We appreciate. I talked to Jody Lewis at Franklin yesterday. She's really trying to make herself available to help our local businesses train their people on what there is to do. So it's great when you're reaching out and doing those. I hope others will listen and model that, your example in doing that, and that the potential employees will say, hey, that's the kind of company I want to work for.
Hopefully.
That's really good stuff. Hey, we did notice, we think, Cindy, you're muted now, so we're gonna have to kind of watch for you to want to talk. We think if whoever's not talking is muted, it will take care of some of our sound. I think your mics are picking one of you to listen to.
Okay.
So now we've talked about some really good stuff, and I don't want to take us down too far, but I would like to know what are some of the challenges you've faced over the years? I mean, things change. I'd love to hear about your challenges. Equally, I'd love to hear about your strategies for overcoming them and how you get through. So
some of the challenges we've come up against here lately is keeping up with the technology. This was really an industry that you didn't need a computer to operate in at all. I mean, until the last 3 or 4 years. But, first we added computers way back before my time. But then, the computers then led to cell phones, and drivers didn't have to pull over along the road and hit a payphone to try to see what they're doing the next day. The cell phones really streamlined that. And then the government mandated the electronic logs. And so then we had to put tablets in all the trucks, and trying to put technology in front of people who are not technology people. That has really been a challenge, and we still have a couple challenging guys, but they're getting through it. They're working through it. A couple of them, one of them just hit their 80s, and one's in their 70s. That they're still going part time. They enjoy doing it. except for the stupid tablet. I just like to throw this tablet out the window, you know? So we have a few of them. But with the tablets, they really changed the game. We just, over the last year, we started in January last year and completely revamped our software program. So now the drivers used to have to get back, and they used to write their mileage down on a piece of paper at every state line while they were driving, and they'd turn all that in when they got back here. And now all their miles are taken up on the GPS system, and they're still real miles off the odometer of the truck, you know, so that everything's accurate. But then their directions, their paperwork, everything is sent right to their tablet. Um, when it used to be, they would call in and you would talk them through directions over the phone. Well, now they just show up on the tablet. And once they deliver, then they they can actually scan their paper in via their tablet, and that load can be billed that day instead of waiting until they get back to the yard again. So that whole thing has changed. You know, we still have the technology challenges with some of them, but it's working very well. So you know that allows us to not have to get the drivers back every weekend like we do. Um, but we can't fix bad or old habits.
Yeah.
So we still, you know, our drivers are home every weekend, usually a time or two through the week. So they've been spoiled that way. The industry standard there is work 2 to 3 weeks and then get 2 to 3 days off after they work the full straight through the 2 or 3 weeks. So we're much better than the industry standard. Some of the other stuff we've come across is we've added drive cams to the trucks. That helps protect the driver and the company in case of an accident. The technology in the trucks has really changed. Used to be Grandpa had old R Model Max that, you know, you rolled the windows down for air conditioning and you almost had a little bit of heat in the wintertime. Well, these things have, you know, set the temperature, climate control in them. They have a refrigerator. They have hookups for TV. They have an APU on them to, you know, when you shut the engine off, the cab is still warm or cool, I guess, too. And we've
Probably nicer than some people's homes, right? I mean,
oh, they are, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, these trucks are the equivalent of like a Ford King Ranch interior, heated and cooled seats. There's a dinette in the back for the guys to sit and do paperwork or, you know, eat dinner. They're a upscale truck. We spend a lot on the truck to upscale the truck because they are living in these things. The amenities on the driving end of things, like adaptive cruise, where you come up to the car and it slows the truck down to stay with the car. Um, they have lane assist. You know, it tells you whether you're wandering, but it also takes over the steering wheel and keeps you centered in the lane, and almost the Tesla type technology in them. Um, and then it has uh, like radar detectors that will detect the car in front of you and automatically stop the truck if it sees a hazard or a pedestrian even. The newest ones recognize a pedestrian off to the side, and namely the right side, not so much the left, but there's a big box on the right side of the trucks that if they see a pedestrian and you turn the wheel to the right, like you're going to run over the pedestrian, the lights will go off, buzzers will flash, the brakes will come on. I mean, these things are really, really coming through on the technology. And of course, you have on the horizon, the next set of problems, I guess, are the electric trucks. Well, there's a lot of good, promising information there. To fast charge an electric truck, you need a megawatt of power. And talking to Penelec and people around here, that is not available. So what, you know, everybody wants the electric trucks and the green. But ultimately, what it comes down to is the fast charge an electric truck, you have to install a diesel generator to charge that truck. So really, where are we getting? We're just transferring the power. That's a whole new set that's gonna be years down the line here yet, but that'll be the next set to overcome.
Well, I'm sure Cindy and I hope to live to see that set of problems, but we're confident in your generation to figure it out, right?
Yeah.
Cindy, you've dealt with problems your father never would have imagined, right?
Well, my biggest challenge is working through with or against sometimes the government. The rules and regulations, Pennsylvania state in itself is not a business friendly state. And now PennDOT wants to, again, for the third time in my life, talking about tolling the interstates, which is not a good thing. It's just another tax. It's just going to hurt businesses and communities. And so we're working with Senator Scott Hutchison and Congressman Lee James, who are vehemently opposed to the tolling. So anybody who's listening, please feel free to reach out to your representatives and let them know this is not a good thing. It was interesting. I heard that the Pennsylvania Turnpike is the most expensive road in the world, yet Pennsylvania is still screaming for more money. So in my head, I wish they would just use the money they receive for roads and bridges only. Don't divert that money anywhere else. But the government's been just a big challenge.
Greg participated in a forum a week and a half ago, and I listened in on that remotely. And we're really fortunate that we have such great relationships with our local legislators, and they're really going to bat for us. I think we have a strong Pennsylvania chamber who I know is on board with trying to fight the additional tolling. We've been down this road before. I was with you on 80. So, as a chamber, we'll continue to advocate for business-friendly legislation. And it's challenging. And we understand that there are, to some extent, two sides of, problems to solve. But I think we're together in believing that there's a better way to solve this problem than tolling our valued businesses. I mean, just what you described a few minutes ago, Greg, imagine the investment, in those trucks. When we think about buying a car, most of us don't really look at even having a luxury car and then to be doing that. But thank you for your commitment to safety. I mean, it is scary. And you're showing us, we've been to your shop, to your garage, and you've shown us what it's like to be in a truck cab and have little cars and bikes around you and what hazards those can be. So your commitment to safety is incredible. I mean, that's, kudos to you.
We try to get people in the cab as often as we can to show them, what they can't see around
them. Yep.
Yeah, that demonstration is great. So for anyone watching that hasn't been there and seen your demonstration, I hope you'll always set that up when we get to come to see your business. So we've got about 6 minutes left. I want to make sure you get a chance to tell us about things that you're doing, but let's talk about, what have you found most satisfying, especially about being in business here in Venango County. Hopefully you don't keep doing something that's not bringing you some profit for you and your employees, and also some satisfaction of a job well done. What is it that really keeps you happy in the work?
Well, I like watching the growth. Not only the growth of the business, but the growth of the people. I'm seeing people grow into leaders. And like you said, Susan, Greg, Mark, and Tracy, Greg's wife, attended your leadership conference. And then also Bridget, my daughter's here with us. So we're very fortunate. But also I like watching anybody who wants to step up to the plate and learn and just move ahead. I love watching that. And then, of course, the growth of the business. But people, they've made a good living here for themselves and their family. And I'm proud about that. That's very satisfying.
Greg, anything you'd add to that?
Watching the business grow,
drivers,
technicians, office personnel, equipment, seeing them all work together Mom always called it a symphony, and I see that. It's definitely a symphony. Everybody working together, and we always say rowing the boat together, and it's true. I mean, we can't have the shop without the office without the shop. Definitely nobody moves without the driver. So, it really is a symphony. Everybody working together here. So.
Yeah, anyone knows that anything above a solo performance takes work, and not every day is perfect, but your real intention of making that work is really commendable. So I'm sure there are some things on the horizon, maybe some you can't share, but I'm hoping there's some you can share. What's next for Klapex? What's in the future that we should all be watching for and knowing about?
One thing in the near future here is, we've acquired that old Kmart building that was an eyesore down beside us here. And I know we've kind of called it our community spruce up project, I guess. Originally going to tear the building down, get rid of it. And we got all the boxes, junk out of it. And wasn't that bad inside. So we put a roof on it and wired it. And we just pretty much started from scratch with everything inside of it. And now finally, really about done with it. It's a heated and air conditioned warehouse space, so it'll be temperature controlled, humidity controlled. So it'll be a nice space for whoever ends up in it. We have been getting a lot of interest. A lot of people would like to see inside because they remember it as James Way back when it was. I've heard a lot of stories of James Way and Kmart and even a Weston's. I don't remember a Weston's, but lots of stories there. So a lot of people have been wanting to see inside that. So I think maybe about mid-May we'll have an open house or something, and people can come see what we've done with it and go from there and see what happens with it. But yeah, about 80,000 square feet of warehouse space to be available down there.
Great. Yeah, we've talked about sharing that. When you're ready for an open house, we'll be sure and let people know, and we'd be excited. I occasionally, I feel like I see that building show up in my dreams once in a while as an old memory. We spent a lot of time there shopping. So that would, thank you again for saving something that could have been torn down and will be useful. It's a great location. Is there still room if someone listening says, oh boy, I could use some warehouse space? Does it all have to go to one party, or are you going to divide it up? Is there?
No, it can be divided and into different parties, and we can put dividers up, whatever we figure out whatever we need to do. Right now, it's just kind of an open canvas. So see where we need to go with it.
Terrific. Cindy, anything you'd like to add about what you see on the horizon?
Well, with our new cloud-based computer system, we're not chained just to this location anymore. So there are multiple opportunities for us to have terminals across the country. So we're actively looking into doing that and expanding that way. Trucking's an interesting and exciting business, and the economy can't move without them. So it's just fun to be in. So we'll see what happens with, the expansion across the country too.
That's really exciting. I don't pretend to be an expert on economic development and knowing exactly how it all works, but it's certainly my understanding that when you expand your business outside of our region, that brings more money into it. As long as you stay based here, which we're really hoping you'll stay here for generations to come, that is just a driver of more into our local economy. So your investment in growing your business is an investment in each and every one of us in our organizations.
It is. And I have to say, our customers here and our employees here, we try to do as much as we can locally for exactly that same reason. We all help ourselves here.
Great. Well, we thank you for investing locally. We talked about investing Venango. I know that you have, your families are getting their education here. You've got homes here. You're, raising your families here. So I just want to thank you. I want to thank you for the time today, because I have watched you guys scramble when we've tried to meet before. I know you have a lot on your plate. So I really, really appreciate the time that you've given us today to see a little bit inside of your world. We hope we can do this again sometime, and find out. We'll look back on this conversation and say, wow, we didn't know change was going to happen this fast, because we know it will. So keep us posted on when you're ready to invite people to your open house. We hope you enjoy a beautiful Pennsylvania day. And Cindy, you may be off to other lands too. Safe travels wherever you're headed. So
Thank you.
thank you everyone for joining us this
Yeah.
morning. Again, we've recorded today. We'll get that up on our website where you may want to share with others. I would suggest that if you have students or you have people that you know are looking for good, meaningful direction towards a career, I know Klapec Trucking would welcome the chance to talk about what a great career in the trucking industry looks like and how they may be
Yep.
part of someone
Mhm.
else's future. So
Yeah.
thank you
Yeah.
all. Have a
Thank
great
you,
day.
Susan.
Thanks for
Great
having
weekend.
us. Mhm.
Thank
All right.
you.
It's been fun.